So, from previous classes on the angel debates the devil, I'm going to read some verses. So you just close your eyes or just whatever, sit back, just listen. The way we think that certain things can act as causes for other things exist only in an apparent world, in a world of names that come and go, in a world we never question. But if we are not satisfied with leaving the world like this, and instead begin to investigate how one thing can cause another, in the end, we come up with nothing. So right away, in how many times can we think about, what causes another thing? It's all day long because we're always trying to affect something. So, it's such a simple thing. We think, we take an aspirin, right? And we hope it works. Sometimes it does, and sometimes not. And if not, then maybe sometimes, I don't know, maybe you take another one and then you wait some more. Or you might wait some more and then take another one. But eventually you probably pick up the bottle or something, you look at it and you say, well, how many can I take without, killing myself, because the headache hasn't gone. And then if it still doesn't work, we just suffer. We probably have to wait until maybe then try another medication. We might hopefully be smart enough to at least wait to try another one. But, it's what we do with anything, with food, with partners, with houses. Doesn't work, we try another. Or we just suffer. And suppose somebody came, like from another planet or something, and just asked you if that aspirin works. If aspirin works, what would you say? Like, how would you say it? And then eventually you just come to the word, probably sometimes. That if they ask you, if someone looks at you that sometimes, why would you take something that sometimes works? What would you say? And it's just questions you ask yourself, someone might think, well, if it doesn't work, do you get your money back? And we know that's not the case. For everything that doesn't work, some things you can return if they break soon enough. Right? You can return them quick. You could say you get your money back. But the active ingredient in anything, because you could probably ask this question with anything: does it work all the time? That's the question. It seems like you are using something, doing something, even thinking something, it should work all the time. Why do we suffer doing these things that do not work all the time, and keep doing them and suffer? It just, to me, it means it's just like, it gets frustrating, or there's, depends on the level of suffering. It could just be annoying, it could be real suffering, deep suffering, we don't know. Because when we keep avoiding thinking about why doesn't it work all the time, but we engage in it anyhow. So what's the active ingredient? That you can all probably answer really quickly would be helping others with medicine, in the case of the aspirin. And how often you know, so that's why when they say if you look for the cause, in the end you come up with nothing, because we could never find even that moment when we did or said or thought. When things work, we have to think, well, why does it work? But we don't really ask in general. We ask when they stop working. Why did it stop working or something, right? Or how can I get this to work again? um, and how often do we go to the active ingredient to really get something to work? Like, try to imagine um, all the well, for example, I was in a meeting the other day for like almost an hour, I think. I don't know. And there was it was like a whole strategy plan, of someone who's going to do some advertising for LHI, for example, and this went through a whole strategy thing. Very nice. Actually, it's very informative. It was fun. And then, why I waited to the end, but I did. And I said, okay, so then who are we helping? Who are we helping in this strategy? Because we could do all this and pay all this, but if we don't help somebody, so, they were open, of course. Now we're planning our strategy of, how many times a month do we help? Do we pay for that help? Do we pay for the also advertising them, or do we stick them in the middle without using up our money? Uh, there's all sorts of other strategies of now, how do we do that? And that's fun. Could have spent the whole hour on that for truth. But also there's information you might have needed as well to plan that strategy. Understand? Each time we step to plant seeds in something we're uh, involved in making a decision or creating with others, there's also information that you can have a conversation about what their strategy ideas are, their creative process is, and such. But in the end, that's only information of how you can activate the active ingredient, because none of that's going to work unless it is activated. So, what if all the decisions you had to make in your life were canceled tomorrow because of your seed planting? There are no decisions to make. It's really a hard one to kind of cook. You have to cook that, really, because you could debate. Oh well, I made the decision to plant the seeds to not have to make the decision. Or, you could break down that decision making to the last atom, right? You know, metaphorically. Okay, but try to imagine how much time you would get back. For example, like in that meeting, it was like an hour, and it only took 5 minutes at the end to come to this, idea that we have to help somebody else, and people participated, and everybody had an idea, and we could have ended it there. We could have had 5 minutes instead of an hour and what was it? You know, you see what I mean? How much time would we save? How much time would you save? Or also try to imagine you didn't have to worry, like, oh, is it going to work out? Is this what I should do? it takes a lot of training to change this kind of even this behavior, because the way that we have been taught to uh, uh, strategize, and the systems we use to get what we need and want, many times we're rewiring with this understanding. But it shouldn't be so uh, complicated when you use, whatever you have, whatever skill you have, whatever knowledge you have, when you use, not just lazily do something, you actually use your knowledge, use your skills, your own personal, ways of changing your own behavior and thinking. Because, after many years even practicing, it's still hard, right? It's still hard.